Hey, what's up everybody? Professor Primus Prime 22 here, bringing you the first lesson from Transformers Lore 101. See, this channel is all about Transformers lore, from looking at specific storylines, to editorials on the multiverse, to answering questions the audience may have on the lore of the multiverse. The intended audience for this channel is made up of fans of the fiction of the Transformers multiverse, and who wish to maybe learn something new. Unfortunately, most of the Transformers fanbase only cares about the toys or completely shun anything in the multiverse that isn't just the specific Transformers franchise, as there are many other franchises in the multiverse. Because of this, compared to other large-scale multimedia works of fiction, this multiverse hardly has a fanbase that gives the lore the attention it deserves. As a result, much of my comment section has comments that are questions that suggest that the writer has little experience with the Hasbro Takara multiverse, and that this channel really isn't meant for them. So, I'm here with an entry-level course so one may be able to familiarize themselves with the constituencies of the multiverse. Welcome to Transformers Lore 101.
This is Hiroshima, the day after the atom bomb exploded over Japan's seventh largest city and etched its message of doom to an empire. Heat traveling at the speed of light cast a shadow over Hiroshima and over the land of the rising sun. These films, taken by the Japs and confiscated after the armistice, tell a dramatic story of destruction and terror that followed in the wake of the first atom bomb loosed over a military target. 30% of the city's population was killed.
August 6, 1945 was the date that the first nuclear weapon was utilized in warfare. Many historians point to this moment as being the beginning of the Cold War, though there are many other starting points that have been proposed. The Cold War. With the threat of mutually assured destruction through these new cruel bombs, the rival superpowers of the United States of America and the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics competed in every way possible to ensure that it would be they who had the most influence in the world and not the other. The threat of war was ever present, and it was important for the American people to lend their support to their soldiers. In 1964, the toy company Hasbro released 3 new toys. In all but name, they were dolls, but it was believed that young males would not want to play with dolls, so Hasbro created a completely new term to theoretically make boys want to play with them. This was where the term action figure first came from. These were 3 servicemen to represent branches of the United States Armed Forces. Rocky represented the United States Marine Corps and the United States Army. Skip represented the United States Navy, and Ace represented the United States Air Force. Eventually, these figures would fall under one franchise, the earliest beginnings of G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe, fighting man from head to toe, on the land, on the sea, in the air.
G.I. Joe attack! Boom, boom! G.I. Joe takes the hill! Bam, bam! Horrific battle!
Terrific equipment to have a battle with. When you get G.I. Joe and the authentic G.I. Joe equipment, you'll have the greatest realism, the greatest fun you ever had in playing soldier. Box after box of authentic uniforms and equipment, so you can change your G.I. Joe soldier into a camouflage Marine ready for battle, a Navy frogman with complete scuba suit and inflatable life raft, an Air Force pilot with high-altitude helmet and air vest. Get G.I. Joe and get G.I. Joe equipment so you can set up exciting battle action whenever you want. Remember, only G.I. Joe is G.I. Joe.
By the 1970s, the United States became embroiled in the controversial Vietnam War. While patriotism and American pride were originally a strong element in American society through the 50s and 60s, the Vietnam War was met with a sort of skepticism. Because of this, the American imagery and symbolism of G.I. Joe would tone down into what would be known as the Adventure Team. Meanwhile, the Japanese toy brand Takara was able to distribute the original G.I. Joe figures. However, in 1972, the Japanese G.I. Joe toy line would undergo changes to become less American, and the resulting product was the Henshin Cyborg.
サイボーグは君が作るのだ。サイボーグ1号、少年サイボーグは力を合わせて地球を守れ。司令官は君だ。
Similar to the 12-inch tall G.I. Joe figures, the Henshin Cyborg, or Transforming Cyborg line, included clear parts. However, Henshin Cyborg did not last long until it was changed as well.
From dawn this morning, the Israeli and Syrian armies have been slugging it out here high up on the Golan Mountains. The Syrians have been attempting to dig in and consolidate the gains they made on Saturday, the Israelis to dislodge them with airstrikes, heavy artillery and tanks.
Autumn 1978. Anti-Shah demonstrations had grown to such proportions that the Shah declared martial law in most of Iran's cities. The crowd shouted death to the Shah. Among the despised symbols of their monarch, the marchers raised pictures of the Shah's antagonist, the bearded, fierce-eyed holy man, Ayatollah Khomeini.
The Middle East was in turmoil through the events like the Yom Kippur War and the Iranian Revolution. The resource-filled region's instability resulted in an energy crisis in many countries, including Japan. The energy crisis meant that the energy that was needed to create the large 12-inch Henshin Cyborg figures was expensive. The answer to the issue was downsizing, and Henshin Cyborg was shrunk to be 8 inches tall. This new toy line was called Microman. Add this to the fact that Japanese homes tend to be smaller than American homes, and the Microman line, debuting in 1974, was much more successful than its larger counterpart. The Microman line would come to the United States the next year under the new title of Micronauts. By 1980, many toys in the Microman line had vehicles and transforming robots that the small Microman figures could pilot. These transforming robots would become their own line under the name of Diaclone.
あのバトルコンボイに続きパワードコンボイ登場。キャリアカーとしてカーロボット対前進機士としてさらに合体してパワーロボットに宝のカーロボットパワードコンボイ。
In 1982, as Micronauts was coming to the scene in the United States, Hasbro again planned on revamping their G.I. Joe line that had fallen out of style. Inspired partially by the new design of Micronauts, G.I. Joe was redesigned into an 8-inch figure toy line as well, now with a completely new plot. Now, the G.I. Joe members had their own personalities and characters that were not just representations of the U.S. Armed Forces. Another large change was the introduction of Cobra as G.I. Joe's nemesis. G.I. Joe had turned from its military roots into a toy with its own science fiction-based story. A new 3-way advertising campaign began with G.I. Joe. First, there were the toys. Then, there was the G.I. Joe A Real American Hero comic series, published by Marvel Comics. And finally, there was the G.I. Joe TV series. This advertising strategy was a hit.
I'll show you how to get G.I. Joe. It's Destro.
Of course it's Destro, you fool! Who else can help us?
We'll attack here.
The terrifying enemy of G.I. Joe. Destro is his name. Destro is his name. G.I. Joe, real American hero. Fighting Cobra and Destro.
Where'd those jets come from? G.I. Joe headquarters. We've got to find it.
But will they? Read the further adventures of G.I. Joe in Marvel Comics.
By 1984, various Microman and Diaclone figures had been imported from Japan into the United States. Hasbro sought to repeat the success of G.I. Joe with these new transforming toys. While Hasbro employees Jim Shooter and Dennis O'Neil created a new backstory for the franchise and the name Optimus Prime, it was Marvel employee Bob Budiansky who created the other characters and personalities for the new franchise, the Transformers.
It is a world transformed, where things are not what they seem. It is the world of the Transformers.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers.
Robots in disguise. The Transformers.
More than meets the eye.
The Transformers from Marvel Comics.
I'm going to wrap up this lesson here. Next lesson, we're going to take a look at the Marvel Universe. So thank you for watching, and subscribe if you like to. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.